फल है ता क्या मुई संदा तुद सब किच मैनू सौंपिया जा तेरा बंदा। गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी सारे गज के आखो वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। So humble binti to Sadh Sangat ji. Today's Katha will be in English. So for those that don't normally hear Katha when they come to the Gurdwara Sahib in English, today might be a slightly different experience. So also just a little bit about myself before we start this Katha. So for the past 10 years of my life, as I've been working full time, I started doing Katha alongside on the weekends, and one Gurdwara in particular in Telford, where I've come from now, I was doing Katha at that one Gurdwara for that many years, and we covered so many topics across that come in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj that sometimes you might never hear when you go to a Gurdwara Sahib, and you might never hear the details of Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar, Homme. So these translate to be lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride. And it's a shame because the path of a Sikh, of the Guru, is all about these things that are named. Now, these topics cover your entire life, and each and every one of us suffer from each one of these Panj Jor. The Guru refers to them as Panj Jor, meaning the 5 thieves. Now the reason why they're known as the 5 thieves is because they destroy us from inside. They're taking away our peace, they're taking away our happiness, and they're stopping us from becoming one with God, becoming one with Waheguru. Now today's topic is very specific, and part of the reason why I decided to do a PowerPoint was because normally when I go to a lot of Gurdwara Sahibs, I do Katha. And sometimes when I keep it open, you might hear me talking about Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and then then all of a sudden I've gone all the way to space, which even Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj talks about as well, because Guru Nanak Dev Ji mentions Patala Patal, Lakh Agasa Agas, that there's hundreds of thousands of worlds. And sometimes we forget what's even in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, because it's not a blame that we struggle to understand Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The problem is, within the Sikh community now, over the years, we've found that there's an issue with language. And in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, there's many different languages. Now some people say, what's the need to speak in English in a Gurdwara Sahib and you should only speak in Punjabi? Now, if everybody in the Sangat understands another language, which today the people that have been brought up in Britain is English, then yes, of course we should still carry on in Punjabi. However, we should cater for the people that understand English. Because what I've realised over the time that I've been doing Katha now that I've joined all the different social medias out there, a lot of people are actually coming away from this path. And I'll tell you a short story before we start the Katha, which today's Katha is just on Simran. And we're going to go through the meaning of it, and we're going to go into the details of what, when, why, where, how and who. So they questions that sometimes if you're ever taken from the police, they ask you all the questions. When did it happen? Who done it? How did it happen? And so on. So we're going to go through all that and relate it to what Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj says. So a short story. When I used to work in security for the last 12 years of my life, I came across one Singhini, and she came over to me whilst I was working. There was a show that was going on in the security place that I worked in, and it was called Faith and Grace. And it was based on Christianity, so only Christians would attend it. And this was practicing Christians, not people that just say they're a Christian and they don't read the Bible, they don't follow anything that Jesus says, and they make up their own things. However, this was Faith and Grace, where all the individuals that come there only believe in Jesus, only believe that He is the way, and believe that He is the one that can connect you to the Creator. So on that day, I remember clearly, I had an 11-hour shift to work. And for the 11 hours I had to stand up with only 2 breaks throughout the whole day. Now, every between 20 and 30 minutes, when I was patrolling around the area, because I had to watch the doors to make sure that whoever was coming in wasn't carrying any weapons or carrying anything that could harm anybody, so I would always check everybody. Now, every 20 to 30 minutes, a Christian would come over to me, and first they would speak politely for a minute or two and say, "Oh, how you doing, what's your name," and stuff. So I would tell them. And then all of a sudden they would say, "Jesus done this, Jesus done that, the Bible says this, why don't you follow and become a Christian?" So every single time people kept on doing that, and then I had a good response. I said to a lot of them, "Look, I follow the path of Guru Nanak, so I'm a Sikh of the Guru." I said, if I'm happy with this path of Guru Nanak and I've obtained everything in my life, I've got eternal peace. I said, even if a family member of mine's died, I would still be happy. Even if I lost everything, money, wealth, a house, a car, I would still be happy. I said, can your faith offer me that? And they would say no. I'd say, well, Guru Nanak offered me that. And I says, I'm happy with that, I'm content. If I've got eternal happiness, why would I need something else? And then some people questioned one, and I go back to the Singhani, because this girl used to be a Sikh that became a Christian. So going over to her now, because obviously throughout that day there was about 10 people that approached me. And one Hindu guy in particular, he said that these Asian people, he goes, use a pullar. Pullar means like user, like not very clever, quite foolish. And I says, maybe Asians might be pullar, but I said, the one that you're talking to is not. And he said, why? I said, because I've got a faith, I believe in the Guru, and I believe I'll get to the one when the time comes. And he goes, how do you know you've got a guarantee to get there? I goes, because if you're already there now, then why do you need to worry about when you die? I said, most people in religions that box themselves off are saying, we'll get to heaven when we die. I said, the Sikhs that follow the Guru, they're in heaven right now. They've got the Anand, the complete bliss right now. So they don't need to wait for afterwards to find out what's going to happen. And then within about less than 5 minutes, he just walked away himself because he realized there's no point. So going over to the Singhani, she came over to me, and I'd seen her before because she worked somewhere in Telford. And she said, oh, nice to meet you, I've seen you again. So I think I've seen her again after a few years. And she said that, oh, I'm not coming to convert you, just so you know, I just wanted to talk to you. So I said, all right, that's fine. But in the back of my mind, in my consciousness, I still knew eventually something will come out where she'll want to show me the way towards Jesus. So we were talking, and I said, did you used to be a Sikh? And she said, yes. She goes, but I never found anything being a Sikh. And I said, that's quite strange. I said, were you truly a Sikh? And she said, yeah, I was a Sikh. I said, did you do everything that a Sikh should do? And she said yes as well. So I said, do you know what Gam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar is? And she said, yeah, I've looked into them a little bit. I said, did you ever do Amrit Vela? And she said, I've heard of it. And I did try it, but I never really managed to do it. Now a Sikh of the Guru does Amrit Vela every day, where they wake up and break their sleep to connect to the One. So she said she never really tried it. I said to her, did you take Amrit? Because the Guru said that Amrit is what's going to connect you to the One as well. And as a Sikh of the Guru, to become part of the Khalsa, you must take Amrit as well. So she said, I never managed to take Amrit. So I said to her, look, if I'm being honest with you, right, I'm a Sikh of the Guru, I said, and you said you were a Sikh of the Guru as well, but you haven't taken Amrit, you haven't done Amrit Vela daily, you haven't understood what the Gam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar is, you haven't even experienced the One. So I said, how were you truly even a Sikh in the first place? And then she looked at me and she says, but I found everything through Jesus now. I said, then that's fine. If you found something through somebody else, then that's okay as well. But I said, see your intentions when you came over here, you shouldn't have the intentions to come and change somebody else's faith. And she said, but I never planned to do that. So then before you know it, the conversation after 10-15 minutes, it ended. And then the same girl, and I say Singhani because she used to be a Sikh. She came over to me again 20 minutes later and she presented me with a book. And she went and paid £10 for that book that talked about Jesus, and she gave it to me and she said, please, she said, look, I'm not trying to convert you or anything, but she goes, just read the book. So just out of kindness, I took the book and I says, I will definitely read it one day. So just moving on, as we're going to talk about Simran today. So I put down here what's the most important thing in life, and we put down Simran. So the meaning of Simran means remembrance. And a lot of people don't know this, because sometimes when you say do Simran, people think that you just have to say Waheguru, 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 repeat it, or you have to pick up a gutka and start reading your part. So Simran is actually way beyond this. You can do Simran in your consciousness. You can do Simran by looking outside and looking at the sun, looking at the stars, appreciating the sky. Even if you see a bird flying in the sky and you look at it and you think, wow, and you remember Waheguru, you remember God, that's you appreciating the creation, and that is you actually doing Simran, which a lot of people don't know that. So the what of Simran. So as we said, Simran, the Guru always refers to remembrance of the One. So it isn't remembrance of anything else in the world. Whether you're married, husband, wife, children, grandparents, it is always about the remembrance of the One. One Akal Purakh Waheguru, the Creator that made everything within this world. So what can we do to remember Waheguru? So many different things I've put up. We can do Mool Mantar, so that is the start of Japji Sahib. We can sing Shabads, we can say Waheguru, we can talk about Waheguru with stories. So today, as we're going to go through a little bit of Katha, Das will also share some itihas and stories, Sakya, which we can remember. Because through stories, this is where our history lives on. We can still listen to these stories from 300 to 500 years ago and still be in the presence of the Guru. You can sit with your eyes closed and think about Guru Gobind Singh Ji in Anandpur Sahib, and you can still have that blissful feeling within your heart of the Guru. So some pictures I've put up that you can see on the screen. And normally, when I presented this PowerPoint once in Telford, I done it for a young age group, but the age group varied, because when we done the Sikhi class and I spoke to the Sevadars, they said that the age group would be from young to teenagers. So this was part of the reason why I created this PowerPoint. However, when the Sikhi class happened, it spread everywhere in Telford, and before you know it, there was about 60 people there, and a lot of them were adults as well. So instead of me asking some of the questions to the children, I started to ask the adults. And even the adults sometimes struggle. And it's not about blame again, it's not about me sitting here thinking I know more than you. It's about understanding and doing vichar together. Because Aap Apani Budh Hai Jeti, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says that every individual Sikh has got their own buddhi, their own intellect and understanding. And sometimes some people are a little bit more clever than others, but that doesn't make you a better person. Because the Guru always goes by what your intentions are when you do something. You can sit up on the stage and you can still be full of Ahankar. You can sing beautiful Shabads and you can still be Ahankari. So on the top left, normally I would try and ask some of the Sangat, and this is just to engage, because if we track back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's time, right? Guru Nanak Dev Ji used to ask the Sangat questions, because Guru Nanak Dev Ji was engaging the Sangat, so that way they could focus. You know, sometimes we sit in a darbar and people are playing about on their phones, and I see it in England, they play games whilst they're in the darbar. And it makes you think, because when you're sitting in the presence of Sache Pasha, the true king, the king upon all kings of the world, is Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And for those that have been to India, you'll see from Akal Takht Sahib going to Harmandir Sahib, The only Guru that's carried in a pure golden carriage is Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. There isn't any other Guru that is taken in a golden carriage. That much satkar and respect the Sikhs have for the Guru, because Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is the form of Waheguru, of God himself. You know, sometimes we question and we say, what's the point of coming to the Gurdwara if I can just sit and do part at home? I can remember God from anywhere, because that is also true. It doesn't mean you can only do part here. When you walk out the Gurdwara side, you can start doing Simran, you can go home and you can do your part as well. But the difference is, when you come in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, you're sitting in front of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Angad Dev Ji, Guru Amar Das Ji, all the way up to Guru Gobind Singh Ji and Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, 11 Gurus you're sitting in the presence of. And then also, if there is Khalsa, which is the Amritari Sikhs within Sangat, then you're also sitting in the form of the Khalsa as well, which is also the Guru as well. So you're having darshan of 12 Gurus when you sit in the Guru Sangat. And the power in the Guru Sangat, when you do Abhyas, when you do Simran, when you sing Shabads, even if you're focusing your mind when you listen to Vichar, you're also connecting to Waheguru, connecting to God. And the difference is, sometimes people used to question me and say, Sham, why don't you listen to music? Because for many years, when I took Amrit at the age of 19, which has been about 13 years, I stopped listening to music. And even when I worked in security places and I used to do night shifts for a long time, even the engineers that used to work on site, and they would come through and obviously they could see on the laptop I was listening to Shabads. They'd say, Sham, what are you listening to? And I would say, it's God's words, the praises of God. And they said, do you not listen to any music? And I said, no, because I said, this is enjoyable music as well. However, the difference between this and normal music is this is connecting me to God, and at the same time, this is taking away my sins, or you can say Bap. Because when you listen to Gurbani, you're cleaning your mind, you're cleaning your soul. Sometimes you think, what's the point of putting on the Bart? Even if you don't understand it, you're still cleaning, you're still cleansing your soul. The reason why we can't see God is, Maharaj explains that we're stuck in Homme. Homme is our self-identity, because we keep on talking about me. From the moment that you wake up in the morning, it's always about me, it's always about me. You wake up in the morning and you think, you know what, I've got responsibilities, I need to go to the shop today. I've got responsibilities, I need to go to work. I've got responsibilities, I need to take the kids to school. I've got responsibilities, I've got to go to college, I've got to go to school, I've got to study, I need to do this earning, I need to do this, I need to buy food. All these responsibilities come within our mind, just within about 30 minutes of waking up. But Guru Maharaj gives us a way, as a Sikh of the Guru, that when we wake up, if we start to connect to the One, we can destroy the story that's going on in our mind. And it's a story that's going on in everybody's mind, day in, day out, day in, day out. Within the world, you're thinking about money all the time. And it's not a bad thing. The reason why you're thinking about money is because you've got to provide. Those that are married, of course, you've got to look after your wife, you've got to look after your children. You need a house to live in, you need a car to drive to get to places. However, the Guru wants us to know that greed is not everything. You have to have control over your 5 vices, so that way you're in control. Of course, you need lust as well within your life. That's how you can procreate. But you have to be in control, because the Guru says when you get married and you've chosen the one, then your eyes shouldn't look to another one. And that's not just for the male, that's also for female. When you've chosen the one and you've committed to do Anand Karaj, then you shouldn't be looking at others. And when you speak to other people, and I've spoke to many people that I've worked with, Gores, Christians from different multicultural religions as well, and a lot of them have said that it's okay to look, as long as you're not doing anything wrong. But the Guru wants us as a Sikh to go way beyond this. Never mind just looking. Guru Gobind Singh Ji actually, and through Guru Tegh Bahadar Sahib Ji Maharaj, says that even in your dreams, shouldn't you think of somebody else if you're married? Grist Jivan. And this is part of the reason why in our history, in our Sikh community now, a lot of people are starting to get married late. You should question yourself and question your parvar. Why are you leaving your children to get married at 25, 30-year-old when they're suffering from lust between the age of 14 all the way up to 25? Because God has created us in such a way that if we don't have lust, then we won't procreate. We won't carry on the family and the generations of humans. So, a benti is as well that when your children reach an age, at the age of 16, they're an adult. So when they get beyond that, 18, 20, you shouldn't keep referring them as a child. You should let them be an adult, let them earn money, and let them do things that they need to do. However, within boundaries, you should make rules and regulations within your own parvar. You should openly speak to your children and say to them that, look, if you are looking at somebody, there is a right protocol. Anand marriage should go through parents, respectfully. We shouldn't just let our children go and find their own partners themselves when they become adults. Because the Sikh community has so much respect and satkar that we're not like Gori. You might think that, for example, we can become just like everybody else in this country because we wear the same clothes and we act the same way. Yes, we speak the language, but we shouldn't lose our own morals. We shouldn't lose our own kirpa that the Guru has blessed us with. That satkar, that respect, that honour that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj blessed us with. So on the top left, we've got a cave. To the right, or the middle top, we've got planet Earth, which we're all sitting on now. Then on the top right, you've got the sea. On the bottom left, you've got the universe, which is one of the galaxies. Does anybody know which galaxy it is? So you can openly put your hand up, otherwise I'll specifically point out the Amritaris because I know they're brave enough to answer. Really? Does anybody know which galaxy it is on the left? It's the most common one. It's not a new discovery. There's so many discoveries that are coming out now. The Milky Way, yeah. So beyond this, there is more and more discoveries that keep on coming out, and science can make you go a little bit crazy. And I do look into it sometimes as well, because it's good to keep up to date with what's going on outside this world as well. There's many things happening beyond this world as well. It isn't just planet Earth. If you go beyond this world, there is worlds and worlds beyond. There's galaxies and galaxies beyond. There's even another sun that's been discovered as well. So in the middle at the bottom, we've got clouds in the sky, and on the right we've got the forest. So the reason for me putting up these pictures, you'll see on the next one. So there's a Bani in Dasam Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which is Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's Bani. Now, not a lot of people know about this, but Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji is one ang shorter than Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, which is very interesting. So, in my eyes, it gives Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj the superior level that Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is the Guru. However, Dasam Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is just one ang shorter than Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Now, a very important Bani that I put up here is called Akal Ustit. And many Sikhs used to read this Bani, especially before 84. And when we think about it, sometimes we lose that bharosa and we lose that faith in the Guru, that how come the Sikhs of old were so strong and they were all Shastratari and they could fight so well. They were saints and they were warriors. And part of the reason was because they never forgot the Guru, they never forgot Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's Bani. Whereas over the years now, many people are starting to question, where does this come from? Where is the history for this? However, if you look in our Itihas, we still have all the original Granths. We still have everything that the Gurus gave us. There's even writings from Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj on our scriptures as well. There's even signatures from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj after the Banis that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj himself wrote and he done vichar to all the Singhs. Now, Akal Ustit the Bani takes around 1 hour for those that can read quite fluently. And in this Bani, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, when he sat down, he started to recite it, and Bhai Mani Singh started to write everything down. Now, when Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj started to recite this Bani, and Bhai Mani Singh Ji was writing everything down, there's a point in this Bani where Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj started to say Tui, 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 and he said Tui, which translates to mean you, meaning referring to God. Now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said this Tui, Tui 16,000 times within this one Bani. However, when you read this Bani, you only come across 16 Tui Tuis. Now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj stopped after he went into Samadhi, into meditation, deep meditation connecting to Waheguru. And he said to Bhai Mani Singh, he said, count how many Tui Tuis have happened. Because Maharaj knew himself that he went into a situation where he started to connect that much that he kept on saying Tui Tui, and so much time passed by for him to say it 16,000 times. Now, Bhai Mani Singh Ji took a little bit of time, and he said to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he said, Guruji, there's 16,000. Now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj looked at all the Sangat there, and he said, we'll keep 16. Within this Bani, we'll keep 16, but whichever Sikh of mine recites this entire Bani from start to end will receive the benefit, the phal of reciting it 16,000 times. So just as much bhakti that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj done himself, connecting to Waheguru, that 16,000 times plus all the rest of Akal Ustat Bani, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says you'll get that entire benefit. That entire fulfillment will come within you just by reciting this Bani. So a humble benti that you try and read this Bani. And if you can't read from Dasam Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, because some people find it more difficult, because it is a little bit difficult compared to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, then a benti is try and listen. Now that everybody has phones, all you need to do is type in Akal Ustat, or even type in Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's part, and it will come up straight away. Thousands and thousands of videos will pop up. Today, we actually have no excuse to listen to Gurbani. If you can't read it, you can listen to it. And even if you don't have access to YouTube, you can go on many different websites. People used to come and see the Guru, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji, for example, would tell them some Bani, and individuals would go away and recite and remember that little bit of Gurbani for the rest of their life. And they may have never even seen or had Guru Nanak Dev Ji's darshan again. But just within one Shabad, they could obtain liberation. And it says that in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. If you take one Shabad of the Guru within your heart, never mind the entire Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, just one Shabad, you can become Jivan Mukt. You can become one with Waheguru. Just by reciting one Shabad and connecting to it and following it. So, just going back. So, a humble benti is Das will repeat one line, and if the Sangat can repeat the line back. And a benti, just before we do this, if you can try and close your eyes, and even if you don't understand the meaning, which you can have a quick look on the projector head now and understand what it's meaning, or I'll read it out for you just before we do it. So the reason for the previous pictures was because Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj refers to all the different things that we just went through. And Guru Maharaj says, the Lord is in the water, the Lord is in the land, the Lord is in the heart, the Lord is in the forest, the Lord is in the mountains, the Lord is in the cave, the Lord is in the earth, the Lord is in the sky, the Lord is in here, the Lord is in there, the Lord is in the earth, the Lord is in the sky, the Lord is accountless, the Lord is guiseless, the Lord is blemishless, the Lord is without duality, the Lord is timeless, the Lord does not need to be nurtured, the Lord is indestructible, the Lord's secrets cannot be told. So within this Bani, the Guru tells us, it refers to all the things that were in the picture, that Waheguru is everywhere. Sometimes we think that just God is somewhere, or we come to the Gurdwara and we think God is here. But all the places the Guru is referring to, that God is everywhere. There isn't a place that is without God. And if you read this Bani or you read Jap Sahib, Guru Gobind Singh Ji goes through every single aspect and connects to God to say that God is here, God is there, He is in this, He is in that, He is within, He is without, He is outside the earth, He is inside the earth, He is in the universe, He is beyond the universe. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj keeps on going on and on and on and on, connecting to God, to make you realize that the oneness that we're trying to connect to is everywhere. And it's not a he or a she. Sometimes when we close our eyes and we think, let's think of God, and all of a sudden a picture comes up and it's somebody sitting in the sky. That's not the one. If the Creator is referred to an energy that Waheguru is everywhere, is inside everything. Now if you look at food, every piece of food that is made on earth, it has energy inside it. Now when you eat that food, you obtain that energy. And even inside us we have energy as well, and that's why we can do everything. It's only the day that we leave the earth, the energy goes. However, our body still remains. That's why even that day when it comes and you die, your body remains wherever you are in the world. But the jod, the energy that the Guru refers to, that leaves your body. So, a benti is, if you can close your eyes now, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says something in Rera Sahib, and earlier the Rera Sahib was read. Maharaj says, Antar Gur Aradhana, Jeva Jap Gur Nau. Because it's very important to focus when you're in the Gurdwara Sahib as well. And this is part of the reason why people can't connect to Waheguru, they can't connect to God, because they don't even have that small amount of time just to focus. But my benti is that if you've come to the Gurdwara, at least try and focus in the Gurdwara. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Antar Gur Aradhana. Antar means deep within yourself. Gur Aradhana. Gur means the Guru, and Aradhana means to connect within that one. Antar Gur Aradhana, Jeva Jap Gur Nau. With your tongue, Jap Gur Nau. Japa means to meditate, Gur Nau, the Guru's now name, the name of the one. Antar Gur Aradhana, Jeva Jap Gur Nau, Netri Sat Gur Bekana. The Guru says, if you do this with your eyes, you'll be able to see God. Now, it's not all of a sudden you quickly meditate and you open your eyes and you can see God. It's the inner eye the Guru is talking about. Even when you close your eyes, you can see beyond this world. Not by opening your eyes, because the minute you open your eyes, you're going to see me on stage and you'll see everybody else wherever you look. But the Guru is referring to what's inside you and beyond that. If you connect, like how Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, and I'll repeat it again, deep within yourself, Jeva Jap Gur Nau, you have to use your tongue to connect. Then with your eyes within inside yourself, you'll be able to see. And even the Buddhist monks, they say the same thing. The Buddhist monks can tell you previous lives. If you go and see them, they can tell you what you were before you were in this human life. Many people don't believe in reincarnation, but we'll go through a short story later, and you can look at our own. This is not the Sikhs' history, this is our history. We are all the Sikhs of the Guru that are sitting here today. This is our history, that the Guru shows us all these things to be true. So Abenti, if you can close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, keep them open and you can look at the screen. But however, try and connect. And I'm only going to say 2 words at a time. So it's pretty easy. Even if you can't see the screen from wherever you're sitting, you can still hear and try and repeat. Jale Hari, Thale Hari, Ore Hari, Bane Hari, Gere Hari, Gufe Hari, Chitte Hari, Nabe Hari, Iya Hari, Ua Hari, Jimmy Hari, Jamma Hari, Alek Hari, Apek Hari, Adok Hari, Adwek Hari, Akal Hari, Apal Hari, Ached Hari, Aped Hari. So where can we do Simran? So as we said, Simran means remembrance. So not just within the Gurdwara Sahib, but even when you leave the Gurdwara Sahib, you can do Simran. You can do Simran when you go to work, you can remember the one. Now we went through how you can remember the one. You can do Mool Mantar, you can do Waheguru Simran, repeating Waheguru, you can sing Shabads, you can listen to Shabads, you can read Japji Sahib, Jap Sahib, any Bani you can read, or you can press play on YouTube and also listen to it. So a list here that I put up, even in the park, for the children that are 10, 12-year-old that still go to the park, you can do Simran while you're there. Even if you work, you can still do Simran. Now, you might think, how can you do Simran when you work? Now, in Gurbani, Maharaj tells us that he wants Simran to come within our consciousness. So there is a difference between your mind and your consciousness. Your mind is thinking all the time. When you speak to people, you process thoughts. But your consciousness is within the deeper part of the mind, where you're talking to somebody, however, you're still thinking about something else, but you're not revealing to that individual person what you're truly thinking, because that's in your deeper consciousness. Now, that might be a little bit private. You might be talking to the individual and you might be sussing out their attitude towards you or how they're responding towards you, but you might not tell them that. But your consciousness is talking to you. Now, some people say, how come we've got that upper consciousness as well? What is that? What's the difference between that? That is what the Guru wants us to connect to Waheguru. Because you can do Simran within your mind, but if you connect your consciousness to Waheguru, then even when you do speak to people, utat the bed, the sovet the nam, standing, sitting, you can meditate. Sovet means to sleep. Now, if your mind's thinking about things when you're sleeping, then you can't do meditation. But the Guru says, utat the bed, the sovet the nam. Even when you're asleep, you can be doing Simran. But if you aren't even doing it on your tongue, you don't have a chance to do it whilst you're asleep. You don't have that opportunity to do it in your consciousness. And the more that you do it, the more you'll switch off the story that's within your mind. The more you'll stop stressing, you'll stop worrying and being stuck in anxiety and depression. Now, the reason why I know a lot about this is because for the last 6 years of my life, I used to work as a support worker. And in my company, we dealt with people that were suicidal, they suffered from depression, they were on antidepressant tablets, they were on Class A drugs, they were using alcohol daily, so that way they could sleep at night. Some people used to stay up all night and play computer games because they couldn't sleep, and they would sleep during the day. Now, over the 6 years that I worked there, I had many people come over to me and they said, Sham, please tell us something that we can do to sort out our life. And I said, what's the problem with your life? They said, well, we've got something going on in the mind all the time. And one person in particular said to me, Sham, I can hear the devil. I said to them, what does the devil sound like? And they said, the devil's telling me to go and jump off the top of the stairs and jump over it was like a 3-story high building. And they said, just basically tie a rope on yourself and jump off, open the window and climb out and kill yourself. So I said to the person, I said, is that all the devil tells you to do? And they said, yeah, but sometimes they tell me different things. They say, get a knife and just stab yourself until you're gone. And I said, is there any more? And they said, no, it's just a few of them, that's normally what they say. So I said, you know what you need to do? I said, see, like everybody in the company keeps telling you, and even the doctors carry on with the tablets. I said, how many years have you had the tablets for? Antidepressant tablets. They said it's been about 8 years since they've been taking the tablets, but it's not done nothing. It's just stopped me from going beyond being mad and becoming a psycho and also killing myself. But I said, has it taken away the problem? Because you're coming to me now, sitting right now, and you're saying you still want to kill yourself. You're saying the devil's talking to you. He says, it hasn't done nothing. And I said, you know what to do? I said, try this. Sit down, and I showed them how to sit down, Jonkri, how we're sitting down today, cross-legged. It's probably the most comfortable position you can sit in. Especially those that meditate upon Waheguru know that this is the best position to sit in. And I showed him how to do Waheguru Simran. And he started to do it on his tongue with his eyes closed. And I said, why don't you just give this a try for 10 minutes a day in your life? I said, everybody's talking about meditation in the world. I said, not just Sikhs. I said, we've been doing it for a very long time. But I said, everybody now, if you look at the yogas, the people that do yoga, the people that are talking about mindfulness, the people that are talking about peace, all the different apps have come out now and they're becoming famous. I said, why don't you try it the Sikh way? I said, never mind doing all the different positions. I says, all you need to do is this. Connect to Waheguru. Remember that there's one creator within the world that's created everything. That energy force is inside you. All you need to do is close your eyes and connect to that one and forget about the rest of the world. And I says, all your problems will go away. And he said, you know what, I'll try it. There was another BB that came to me just within the last day before I left the company. And I told her a few things, because she said to me, she said, Sham, I'm suffering as well. And I says, what are you suffering from? She says, I feel depressed all the time. And she says, sometimes I put on makeup on my face, because she said, I can't face the world without being dressed up a little bit. She said, a lot of times I stay indoors and I don't even dress up. But she said, when I go outside, I put a little bit of makeup on just to make me look a bit better, and I feel more confident and try and wear some decent clothes, and that way I feel like I can face the world. Because people are not as lucky as what we are today. Sometimes we think that, you know what, it's great, I just jumped in my car and I landed at the Gurdwara. Some people can't even make it to the Gurdwara. Some people can't, even if they're a Christian, for example, like that individual girl, she probably can't even go to a church because she hasn't got the confidence to do it. She hasn't got the intellect, and at the same time, she hasn't got the blessing due to her karam. So she said to me, Sham, what can I do? And I showed her just within a couple of minutes. I said, look, meditate upon the Creator. I says, all your problems will go away. And I says, unfortunately, I'm leaving the company. And she says, why are you leaving? I says, I've got something a bit bigger to do. And when I showed her how to meditate, she started crying within 2 minutes. And I said to her, stop crying. And she says, I can't. Tears kept on coming down her face. And I said, why are you crying? She said, because what you've just taught me, she says, I've never been taught this in my entire life. And she says, I felt something. And what I feel that she probably felt was the presence of Waheguru himself. But we don't know that, because every individual person that comes into Sangat has an individual experience. I can sit here and do vichar, but I don't know what everybody's thinking. I can sit here and do a Shabad, but the Guru is calculating and looking after what every individual is connecting to. The Guru isn't just concerned about one or two people, the Guru is concerned about everybody. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's doors is open to everybody, but sometimes we have to open our door to the Guru to try and understand what the Guru is saying. So the biggest question you might ask to yourself, and I'm always looking at the time because I always go over time, and I'll wrap this up just within the next 5 minutes, is why? Why should we do Simran? So the main purpose of doing Simran and remembering the One is to destroy this identity. This identity which the Guru refers to as Homme is what every single one of us is holding on to. We're all holding on to our wealth, our house, our wives, husbands, our children, our cars, our job, our profession, our own title, our own status. Now, the Guru wants us to try and destroy all this, because this is only temporary. The day that you leave this world, none of that will go with you. Whether you're married or not, your partner won't go along with you. Whether you've got children or you don't have children, they won't go along with you. Whether you have millions of pounds in your bank, or whether you only have a few £100, they still won't go with you. But the Guru refers to in Sukhmani Sahib Part, which a lot of us listen to on Sundays all the time. And Guru Maharaj says, Jai Mata Pita Sut Meet Na Pai Man Uha Naam Tere Sang Sahai Jai Ma Pian Doot Jam Dale Te Keval Naam Sang Tere Chale. Maharaj says, when the Jamdoots, when the army of the messengers of death come to collect you when you die, only the wealth of God's name will go with you. Now, the wealth of God's name is what we've referred to before, how to do Simran, to do Mol Mantra, to do Waheguru Mantra, to listen to Shabas, just to press that button on YouTube, and that will go with you when you die. And there's many stories that I can tell you today that are 100% true in history, but I don't have the time, and maybe my Veer Dharamveer Singh will probably go through them in the future with the Sangat. And the Benti is, please do come and listen to Katha in English as well, because sometimes when Gyaniji is doing Prachar in Punjabi, sometimes the young generation, especially that are born and bred here, find it difficult to catch up with the Katha. Because it is very difficult if you don't read history on the names of all the Sikhs and the Gurus and the sons, then you get confused when somebody's speaking so fast to try and understand what it is that's going on. So the aim is to destroy this identity so we can become one with one. If you remember, for example, the Guru says when you die and you're on your last breaths, and the reason I've referred to it a few times is not to make anybody sad, it's just the reality that one day it has to happen. But the Guru says that if you remember money when you die, because a lot of us are attached to money, it's not a small thing, it's a big thing in the world. If you remember money on your last breaths, your consciousness when you're about to die, you become a snake. That's what the Guru says. If you remember your children on your last breaths when you're about to die and breathe your last breath, you'll become a pig. And the reason for that is because pigs have many children. If you remember your house, so whatever mansion you've got, or whether it's a flat, or if it's something big or not, the Guru says you'll become a ghost and you'll possess that house. And it makes perfect sense, because many historians have went through what happens on your last thoughts as well. It'll take you, because when you leave this world, it isn't the end. Some people say, oh, you've got one life, make the most of it. It's not one life. If you read Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, we've been through many different lives to obtain the human life, and this is not the end. After the human life, the Atma, the soul, carries on. However, if you become one with Waheguru, then it can end, and you can become one with the source. So, just moving on to this last bit. When should we do Simran? So a benti is that we should start doing Simran now. If you haven't started doing Simran and you haven't started remembering Waheguru, you should start now. You have not every day to remember Waheguru, you have every breath to remember Waheguru. Now, on average, a human breathes about 24,000 breaths a day. So you have a choice to make of trying to remember Waheguru. And when Guru blesses you, you'll remember Waheguru more and more in your life. Now, the Guru has given us specific times. Amrit Vela between 12 and 6 a.m. So, as a Sikh of the Guru, the idea is when you go to sleep at night, you wake up throughout the middle of the night, anywhere between 12 midnight and 6 a.m. And Maharaj refers this as Amrit Vela. Amrit meaning the beyond death, immortal. And also, the Vela just means time. So that Amrit Vela time is specific, the Guru is given to remember Waheguru, because there is a power inside Amrit Vela as well. You can say, I'm going to remember God at any time throughout the day, but it takes effort to wake up in the Amrit Vela. And when you wake up in the first time in the morning and connect to the One, your mind is free. Completely, your consciousness is not thinking of anything. And when you connect the consciousness to the One, you won't believe me, but if you experience it yourself, you'll see how much you can obtain. And a benti is, try it, you have nothing to lose. Think about it, if you wake up tomorrow or the next day and you do one Amrit Vela, you might thank me when your time comes of death. The Guru will give you so much within the Amrit Vela, just even if you don't know any part, and you wake up for 5 minutes, and you close your eyes and you start saying, Waheguru, Waheguru, you'll be surprised that even when you die, that will go with you. And there is a bank balance when you die. The Guru does count how much you've connected to Waheguru when you die. So the who can do Simran. So it doesn't matter what religion you're from, whether you're a Sikh or a non-Sikh, just like I said before. Many people that came to me that were non-Sikhs, I still said to them, do Simran. Remember Waheguru upon your tongue. Because Waheguru Guru has given us as a mantra from many different jokes. So it doesn't matter what background you came from. So just a quick benti before I finish up, as I know I've gone a little bit over now. Is the path of a Sikh just to do Simran? Because that's what we've been talking about today. So the answer is, some people might say yes, but Das's answer is 100% no. The life of a Sikh is not just about doing Simran. Now, you might ask why. So the Sikh path consists of many different things. The path of a Sikh consists of keeping fit, going to the gym, doing martial arts, weaponry fighting, horse riding, travelling, hunting, sports, family association, meditation, sangat, reading Gurbani, singing or listening to Shabads. Now, that might be interesting for some people, because a lot of people think when they follow this life of a Sikh, oh, it's just about all of a sudden this person's become religious, he's grew his beard, he's got a dastar on, or he's a Gyani. Sikhs are way beyond what just a Gyani is. Now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji wanted each and every individual Sikh to become Vidwan, which means, yes, you should become like a Gyani, you should read Gurbani, you should read Part. However, even a Gyani should be fit and active, should go to the gym, should do martial arts. Now, I'm not tracking back just to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's time. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj travelled the entire world by foot. The second most travelled person in the world was Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Now, imagine how fit Guru Nanak Dev Ji was to travel the entire world by foot. We couldn't even probably do it on planes, the entire world, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji done it on foot. Guru Angad Dev Ji done martial arts. So the second Guru, he actually encouraged wrestling. And from his time, Sikhs actually started to come together. And yes, they still read Part, they still had the discipline, they still followed what Guru Nanak Dev Ji done and said what they done martial arts as well. So they were very fit and active. Now, weaponry fighting started in the time of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. Horse riding, Guru Arjan Dev Ji actually rode a horse, which might be interesting for some people, because a lot of people think it started from the 6th Guru. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj actually rode a horse. So all these other things the Gurus took part in as well, which was hunting, family association. When there was weddings, the Gurus also done their sons' weddings as well, and they associated with family. So one thing to remember, when you become a Sikh of the Guru, you don't isolate yourself. You still attend family occasions. Now, you have to make a decision in your life, should you go to certain places where things exist that you don't encourage. For example, where narcotics exist, where there's intoxicants. You have to make that conscious choice yourself. Now, some individual people can do that, but some people can't. And if you're not strong enough, then of course you shouldn't be in certain places. However, if people are doing things that go way beyond your red or maryada, you have to make a choice. Can you be present in that place? Only you as an individual can make that choice. So the path of a Sikh, of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, can fulfill all your desires. You might question, what's the point of being a Sikh? You can obtain eternal happiness, you can forever be in bliss, you can be content, you can be carefree, you can be caring, peaceful, compassionate by following the path of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So just a very, very short story on Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj went on expedition with Jahangir. Jahangir was the emperor of India. Now, he felt that Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj was very brave. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj started an army where he started to get the Sikhs together. And just like we bow down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, we put a little bit of change and money in the Golak. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji instructed every Sikh to bring weapons and horses and come to me. Now, he specifically said that bring the young, the youth. And if you look today, there isn't many young here. But Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj says bring the young, because he knew that when you're young, you're fit and active. When you get older, of course, you start to get problems with this body. Your knees go, your legs go, your arms go, you've got shoulder problems. When you're young, you're fit and active, you can do anything, you're invincible. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji said, bring shastras, bring weapons, bring guns, bring spears, and come to me. So that's what the Sikhs start to do. Every time they came to see Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, they'd put down a weapon. And before you know it, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj collected a massive khajana full of weapons. And what Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji done was he started to give out all the weapons to the Sikhs. And he started to train them in martial arts, to be fighters, to be warriors in this martial arts. And when Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj himself became known in India, the emperor started to fear Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, because they said that this Guru has created an army. He said he might take over India. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj had around 2,200 horsemen, so Sikhs on horseback and with weapons that could fight well. and the Guru himself trained them as well. So the Emperor Jahangir, he paid a visit to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, and he seen the army, and he thought, wow, when he looked at the army. He said to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, he said that I've been told that you're fearless. So he said, let's go hunting. He said that I've even heard that you fight with lions and you can take out tigers, the most feared animals within the jungle, that are the king of the jungles. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Maharaj says, if you want to go, then we can go. So Jahangir, the Emperor of India, he got some of his men, some of his own army, and Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj got some of his army, and they went to the jungles. Now this is open jungles. You know, like if you go to Africa today, they have the open wild jungle, and then it's closed off at a certain barrier. So somebody might have been, I'll probably go one day. It's something to tour and look at. So when he went there, it was an open jungle and they were all on horseback. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji alongside the Sikhs, Jahangir alongside part of his army. Now, a lion came out from the jungle, a big lion that weighed over 300 pounds in weight. And Jahangir had feared the lion when he seen it, and the horses even got scared of lions as well, because the lion would eat a horse up pretty quickly. So they jumped off the horses and the horses scattered. And even Jahangir's army, some of them that were there, they ran away as well, and they had weapons. And Jahangir never knew which direction to look in. But Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj quickly jumped off his horse alongside the Sikhs, prepared to fight the lion if they had to. And the Sikhs stood alongside Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. And all of a sudden, this lion pounced and jumped towards Jahangir, straight towards his face. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, as you can see in this picture, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj quickly jumped in front of the lion, went down in Birras position, right leg on the ground and left leg up, and he put his shield up towards the lion. Now you might look at this picture and think it looks like a little cat, but it was a real lion. And Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj's shield was really big, and at the same time Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji was over 7 foot in height, so he was very strong as well. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj stopped the lion with his shield, and with his right hand he put his talwar straight through the lion's body, and he killed the lion in one shot. That's how strong our Guru was. The Gurus were fearless because they were Waheguru themselves. God was on earth himself from 1469 to 1708, and we still have the presence of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, which is the form of God. So I hope in today's Katha and Vichar I haven't offended anybody. And just a quick benti, if there is any questions within the Sangat, just within a few minutes we can go through it. If anybody has any questions, you can ask openly, and I can do Vichar from stage now, or a benti is downstairs. I've got some leaflets set up on the table. You're welcome to take a leaflet and read a little bit about the Sikh history. So it's just a very simple leaflet that I've created, and the reason for that was to do Prachar to non-Sikhs. So to help educate Sikhs, non-Sikhs that are from a different background, that may be Christians or atheists or Muslims or non-believers of any religion or faith, they could still have a little look and find out what the Guru's done, what the Guru said, and who the Sikhs are. So just a benti for no questions. So Das will be downstairs afterwards. So humble benti, Pulla the Katha Bakshana Sari Kachka Ko Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.